Wow, well, today's been interesting so far. Let's see. Yesterday, I've been hearing more about the president blaming crashes on people with disabilities and color of skin and gender, which I've never seen in a job description. That's what gets you the job. That your anatomy, your skin color, and a job description says the job description actually says your disability gets you a job. So I've been wondering, that's real interesting. Uh, Shifting the blame, are we? Because you fired a bunch of people and then a crash happened. Wow. Okay, here we go. Responsibility is the ability to respond, but it gets better. So I open TikTok and I see someone talk about Black Lives Matter and Black Lives Matter grassroots. And what was interesting about that, and and also what else I saw? I saw someone promoting a pin and a necklace that you can buy on their TikTok shop to show LGBTQ plus people that you're safe. I saw the other day someone crying about losing their DEI contracts, and I've heard through the grapevine about people really losing their DEI contracts. Now, I kind of want to talk about all this. First of all, there's a couple of things to talk about. What's really sad is when people when you're in a charity situation and it's meant for people that, like, if I were in a disability group, disability nonprofit, and I started taking more than my salary or what was supposed to go towards the people, and not wanting to show my funds, I would be a person that doesn't represent the disability or the neurodiverse community or whatever disability I had very well. And we've got to start looking at that because sometimes we have put people in positions of leadership because we want representation there, not realizing we're not looking at integrity. I've seen this happen, and we've got to start looking at integrity. How do you look at integrity? You look at it through the heart. Well, that really makes a lot of sense there. Well, how do you look at it through the heart? You listen to the words people speak. People always tell you who they are and what they need. They are always speaking. Their qualifications may not necessarily tell them, but your energy has also got to align with that. Well, what does that mean? If you have a toxic workplace or you're toxic at all or you're naive and you're not wise, you're going to draw that. That's why it's so important to spend time meditating, being wise, engaging wisdom, and purposely engaging that aspect. We all can have that. I mean, I can sometimes look at people and by listening to them, know that they're more wise than others and, who to listen to and who not to because I've listened to them. And so I think these are, important things to really think about because sometimes we'll put people in positions because we want more representation. And I think it is important to have representation, but not at the expense of character. So that's the first thing. Second thing, as far as DEI goes, we are in a spot where we can rebuild diversity. What does that mean? Well, I'm going to explain what that means. Recently, someone had asked me, do you have any success stories about what you're about ready to launch? And I didn't really research that aspect. That was a great question. So I went and started researching success stories around intersectionality. Do you know there's hardly any real documentation around intersectionality. What does that mean? Oh, wow. That's huge. That is huge. Because what that's telling you is when you walk into an office, you are either, I'm seen as a white woman. That's all they're going to see me as. That's all they're going to treat me as. They're not going to treat me as a white woman with a disability. They'll treat me as a person with a disability. Gender gets thrown out the window. Okay. So I just get the disability part. I don't get any woman at this point. There's no intersectionality. We pick and choose how we treat someone based on one identity. What if someone has multiple identities? That impacts how they work in the workplace. If you are a Latinx woman that is of Generation X, you're going to work completely different than a Black woman who is a millennial. And it's not because one's a Gen Xer and one's a millennial. I'm going to tell you that does play a factor. But we're not looking at this whole picture. So that's that next piece. And that's the other piece we've got to look at. So we can rebuild diversity in a whole new light, in a whole new way. And we can look at it as, okay, how can we go in and rebuild this and show the importance of not just we need to get along with a diverse person, but how do we show in a way that it's benefiting where the company is creating more profit and the employee is having a healthy work well-being? Because that the employer can't create a profit very well if the employee doesn't have a good well-being in their workplace, and a safe workplace. I'm going to tell you, those two go hand in hand. So I hope that this is helpful. And I kind of just wanted to talk about this because this is what I'm seeing everywhere. And I'm seeing so many people be so sad and so doom and gloom or so upset or so many things going just like, oh my gosh. And I want to acknowledge it. That's why I started off with the way I started off, is because we need to acknowledge the dung. It's dung. It's cow manure flying everywhere. Sometimes in the middle of cow manure flying everywhere, you can build some interesting things. You can show why things are needed. I'm going to continue this.